Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I am Adrian Fort, and we are here for another poetry discussion. A poetry discussion which will take place in two separate playlists here on the channel. Number one being the poetry discussion playlist, approaching 300 videos strong, but also the Charles Bukowski playlist here on the channel, which is currently approaching 100 videos strong, 100 videos speaking strictly about Chucky Buck himself. Today's video is on the poem Close to Greatness, which reads as such. At one stage in my life, I met a man who claimed to have visited Pound at St. Elizabeth's. Then I met a woman who not only claimed to have visited EP, but also to have made love to him. She even showed me certain sections in the cantos where Ezra was supposed to have mentioned her. So there was this man and this woman, and the woman told me that Pound had never mentioned a visit from this man. And the man claimed that the lady had nothing to do with the master, that she was a charlatan. And since I wasn't a Poundian scholar, I didn't know who to believe. But one thing I do know, when a man is living many claim relationships that are hardly so, and after he dies, well, then it's everybody's party. My guess is that Pound knew neither the lady nor the gentleman, or if he knew one, or if he knew both. It was a shameful waste of madhouse. So I think the first thing to talk about here is to go all the way back to the beginning and reconcile close to greatness. Oof, that is miserable there. Close to greatness. What are we talking about? Are we talking about our speaker being close to greatness, and that's why he is conversing with people who claim to be close to Ezra Pound, one of the greats? Are we talking about Ezra Pound having these people close to him? Are we talking about this man and this woman being close to our speaker? One other strange little doodad here is that Ezra Pound is often sort of mocked for not being one of the greats. Are we talking about Ezra Pound was close to greatness? Now, we have here our speaker referring to Pound as the master. So, for our speaker, that is not what is going on. But I think we would be remiss to not include that in the sort of in the universe of this poem. This poem saying close to greatness. Obviously, the title is reflective on the man and the woman who claimed to be close to Ezra Pound. The title is reflective of those people not being close to Ezra Pound. That's the easy sort of part, though, right? Here's one thing that I think is infinitely more talk aboutable in this poem. We're talking about proximity to greatness. We're talking about these people claiming, one, to have known him, the second, to have known and made love to him, and to be represented in the great master's art, the cantos, which, by the way, the cantos, do you know anyone who's read it? Me either. So there's that. But this idea of close to greatness, when we extend it to the conversation on Ezra Pound being close to greatness, it makes this poem take a very strange turn because, like I said, a lot of people think that Ezra Pound, one of the most well-versed of individuals in the expatriate group, he is someone that Hemingway credited with teaching him how to write. He is sort of the Tom Spanbauer of the Spanbauer-Polnick relationship. Hemingway being the Chuck Palahniuk of that dynamic, of that duo. But when we talk about Ezra Pound maybe not being as great as could he have been, one of the things that seems to have taken Ezra Pound away from the greatness, the level of greatness that he might have otherwise attained, is his ever evolving, ever risk adept writing process, or writing style, I guess I should say. Ezra Pound. So to play it safe with a reader, the author has to care about the reader. One of the things in Kurt Vonnegut's, I think it's 8 Rules of Writing or 12 Rules of Writing, it's a very Googleable article, you can find it, is that Vonnegut tells us always pity the reader. The reader's the one doing the heavy work. You got to do all the fun stuff as the writer. The reader is doing the heavy work. Pity the reader. Ezra Pound does not pity you. Ezra Pound does not care about your feet being on the ground during the train ride. Ezra Pound's throwing it all out there, and in as much, a lot of his writing is difficult with which to connect. It's difficult to connect with most of his writing. Hemingway cared about the reader. Hemingway wrote terse prose. Terse is, I mean, if you look up terse or erudite in the dictionary, if anyone still has those, I've got too many, but probably if you're here 7 minutes into a video on Charles Bukowski, probably you do too. But terse and erudite, and basically you're looking at a definition of Hemingway's writing, not necessarily the case with Ezra Pound. So this idea of it was a shameful waste of a madhouse. It was a shameful waste of madhouse. I think that includes Ezra Pound. That phrase about wasting the madhouse. When we talk about art, when we talk about being an artist, there is a great risk involved in being an artist. Not just that you'll be judged. If we're going back to Tom Spanbauer, that is the thesis behind all of his writing. Say the things for which you are afraid someone will judge you, and what happens is your invested reader does not judge you. You win them over. As Marilyn Monroe said, if you can make a girl laugh, you can make her do anything. If you can make a reader feel, you can make them feel anything. If you can make them laugh, you can make them cry. If you can make them cry, you can make them angry. If you can make them angry, you can make them sad. The world of art being so high risk, however, high risk in that you'll be judged, but high risk in that there's not really a payout. How many artists, how many creators find a way to monetize what they are doing? The number is very low, astonishingly low. So being close to greatness really means coming up with nothing. Being close to greatness means having zip, zilch, nada. Having zip, zilch, nada is exactly what the man and the woman in this poem claiming to know Ezra Pound have, whether they knew him or not. They have nothing. They don't have the creative life that had Pound. They don't have even necessarily credible claims on having had his attention. The world of creatives is incredibly, inherently dangerous because you could end up with nothing. That is what it means to be close to greatness. That is what it means to be either the man or the woman claiming to know Pound in this poem. That is all I have for this poem. Another poetry discussion about Charles Bukowski. If you enjoy or appreciate what I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out here on the channel. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, literature is the only thing that I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every week. There's poetry every Monday, and I hope to have you back for the next one.